This video is going to have less pomp and frills and be a little less extensive than the others because I'm basically throwing 3 horns into one video, but still want to do it in a digestible way. These horns have a lot of similarities, but each have pretty distinct characteristics to separate themselves from one another. Let's dive into the Soulfire family and see what Lunastra horn is best for you. Blaze starts out with a pretty low 1050 attack. Comes in with a very nice chunk of white sharpness, with purple sharpness being reachable with level 4 handicraft. This is synonymous with all the Lunastra horns. A very nice 20% affinity at base, and around 270 of blast status thrown in there. To wrap it up, there is a generous level 2 and level 1 slot for more skills on your build. Fantastic deco slots is something that all the Lunastra horns share. The song set we're looking at is one that is much more focused on damage, if you're playing solo or without an orchestra palico. It's a very short set list, but can be extremely useful in a group. Attack Up L, of course, is plain as day in what it does and just how great it is. All melody effects extended can be extremely useful in a group, or if you have an orchestral palico by your side. If you get a group of duders together busting out all kinds of different buffs, you can extend all of those buffs simultaneously and help to upkeep them. Knockback Negated is useful as a solo player, or even in a group where people may have not been able to fit in flinch free in their builds, which definitely helps in multiplayer settings. You throw in Impact and Dragon Wave to round out a short song list with a high ceiling. Using this horn, it's clear that it separates itself in the damage category between the Lunastra horns. Numbers with this horn were consistently higher, and with the Attack Up XL song, it was pretty clear that this was going to be the case. Even though it doesn't have a very high blast status, it really isn't much lower than the Styx or Basil horns. From the high affinity at base, the Attack Up XL song, and the All Melodies extended song, this is a horn I'll definitely be looking forward to trying out in group situations with other horn users. As far as the built-in trait Guts, I haven't really seen a lot of great use out of it and have never really gone out of my way to build for it, but having that added in as a free skill instead of having to slot in for it isn't a bad thing to have it all for insurance. With the Soulfire Ruin, we have a variation of the Nergigante horn. It starts at 1134 attack, which isn't too shabby. That same chunk of white sharpness as Blaze, with purple sharpness coming in at handicraft level 4. 0% affinity at base technically, but we'll get back to that later. A pretty anemic blast of 210, and as is with the Lunastra horns, an awesome set of level 2 decoration slots. The song set is another short but very worthy list. Starting with affinity up, we can give everyone in the group a 20% boost to their affinity, which is why I said it technically has 0% at base, but with this song, it always has a 20% head start. Next up is Earplugs L, aka one of the most treasured songs in the game that helps to ignore monster roars. Extended Health Recovery is a great song in any situation that gives us the Valhazak set bonus, as well as our comrades who step through our bubble. We round things up with the damage dealer Echo Wave Dragon. Right off the bat, I have to say of the 3 horns, this one was probably my least favorite in a solo setting. The affinity boost is great, but the other 2 horns having attack up songs really leave this one lagging in the damage department. That being said, this horn can definitely be resourceful in a group setting. Spreading that affinity boost and extended health recovery will definitely not go unappreciated. Not to mention, all of the free shots you'll get in with Earplugs L through ignoring monster roars and not having to rely on a Rocksteady mantle for openers. The built-in skill of Hasten Recovery is alright. It's nice to have by all means, but it's definitely not going to give you the same kind of solid and consistent regen that you get with a health augment. Jumping straight in, we start with a lower attack of 1050. Next is the same sharpness across all 3 horns. Solid bit of white, with purple being reached at level 4 handicraft. A bit of an affinity bump with 10% at base, and this horn has the highest blast of the 3 with a solid bit of 330. The biggest distinction with the Styx horn is the absolutely gorgeous 2 level 3 decorations at your disposal. The song set is a mixed bag of offensive, defensive, and utility songs. Attack and Defense Up S, along with Defense L, are straightforward and are a nice jump to your damage and survivability. Wind Pressure Negated is very useful for monsters like Kushala and others that utilize Gust to manipulate and damage you. Max Stam Up and Stam Use Reduce synergize to give you and your group infinite running, dodging, and other weapon class related things that use stamina. Styx was the horn where I saw the most explosions for sure. It's definitely viable in a solo sense, and in a group sense, its utility is something that will be able to transfer across random groups. The built-in razor sharp is a nice touch to give you an extension on that purple sharpness, but if you're not the type to go for that, then the value of it drops severely since it already has such a generous amount of white sharpness. It's definitely a noticeable and much appreciated trait when you do build in that handicraft and go for purple. Damage-wise, it was decent and a little more consistent than the other two thanks to the razor sharp. I used a couple different builds for the gameplay and bounced between two mainly. There was the Teostra and Artisan build, and then the Teostra mix set with the Brute Tigrex and Garuga. I didn't mind using Teostra as much with these horns. I stuck more towards building toward affinity and damage, but you can absolutely go for more blast if you prefer that. The Styx horn really gives you more freedom to go outside of Master's Touch too, due to that built-in trait of Razor Sharp. I know that Lunastra is a monster that most people don't enjoy fighting and like to avoid doing so if they can. I'm also one of those people. So the thought of grinding out and collecting all three of these horns may not be attractive to everyone. If I absolutely had to choose one of these horns to build, it would probably be Blaze. It has the best damage output while having a 20% affinity boost from the jump, but another big reason is that it has a great song set that only one other horn has, the Rasping Ballad, aka Acidic Glavenus. With that being said, you're not locked into using any of these weapons because you can roll back freely to the base Lunastra weapon and go down one of the other weapon trees at any time. Now with all of that being said, I do think that this is a group of horns that you could be just fine without crafting at all. You guys know my motto is that you should build every horn, but when you include the fact that this requires some Lunastra grinding, which most people hate, I feel safe in saying that none of these are absolute must-haves. I still prefer the Basil horn as far as blast horns go, with that attack up XL, in that sweet synergy of recovery speed L and extended health recovery to recover your red portion of your bar faster before going to the standard recovery speed of the rest of your health. But that's going to be it for this one, guys. I had a little higher hopes for these horns just because of how much I enjoyed them in base world, but I feel like they didn't get enough improvements to warrant me advocating for you to definitely craft them. If you liked the video, please do let me know with a thumbs up. Comment below what horn you'd like to see me review next and what your thoughts are of the Lunastra family of horns. Subscribe if you haven't already for more Iceborne and hunting horn content. Have a good night and happy hunting.